whether I did or didn't, but I was always hesitant, not
I've been so
quite sure
busy,
if that
I'm
was
like, what the
appropriate or
hell?
not, you know?
Oh, that was interesting.
It's such a unique process.
Right.
Except for tomorrow.
Oh, what, you even are,
Maybe I should wait
Nicole's
till
gonna
it's
call
up
and
on
say.
the village
Wait till it's on the
website.
website.
Okay.
Announce it on the
Came down
I
with
mean, not the
something.
village website, the
gone over
caucus
to
the caucus
website.
Oh, okay. Oh, did you? Yeah, that's right.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm doing it.
Was it rough?
okay.
I did not have a good experience.
Welcome to Village Hall.
I'm still like a
Hi, Jim.
How are you, buddy?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah.
Everything has a different version.
Hi, Al.
Hey, Alex. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good.
Good.
That's what I had.
That was a nice
I was out of it
clap
for 2
out
days and that's
for
fine.
Yes.
Chuck,
Yeah,
yeah.
You know, he's a neighbor.
I got sick.
I
about a
figured,
month or two
yeah,
ago
yeah.
When my daughter went back to
They seem like
And,
just wonderful
it's like
people.
immediate.
So,
Yes.
And
yeah.
it was
Well, when he's saying like Chuck makes everything fun, he certainly does. He's
Really?
always, if you know him, like he's always laughing.
5 days.
He's like just a good guy to be around.
I was
Right. That's
I
nice.
was not a good
yeah.
dad
Well,
or,
I hope he
or
enjoys
husband
his
at the time.
retirement.
I was
I know.
completely out of commission.
Oh, these poor kids are here during the meetings.
I was pretty much not good.
They must be punished for something.
And I
They
still
must have been bad. This is like detention.
You still work?
Must have been a rough week because they got three of them.
Right.
It was like mild headache, malaise,
Yeah.
but I wasn't like, ah. But, oh, so I just can't wait.
It could be. We've cured you.
No, it's even better.
Oh,
Yeah. Somebody else must have come in and really,
No, it,
Shuffled the chair
it took
down.
my wife
thank you though.
6
That was
months to
great.
get everything back.
I thought I just had to live with
Sorry,
it.
no, not scary. It took her like 6 months to get
dealt with it before, so
smell and taste.
these chairs are very.
Isn't that crazy?
There we go. That's
It's different for everyone.
I know that's,
Yeah, that's better.
I'm like,
Well, no, in like 20 years.
yeah, I know, exactly. And all of the studies and the placebos and the control group.
My son saw on TikTok. Pepper with sugar and eat it.
Saw that too.
Something like that.
What,
Also, I
did
saw-
it work? Did you try it?
You know, he lost his
That's the smell, okay.
No, I don't think I ever lost it.
So wait, did he do it and did it work?
You know, it didn't work immediately, but within
How's
a couple
everything
weeks,
going
it
with
worked.
you? Except for the holidays?
No,
Because I gotta get some immediate remedies.
Yeah.
There's supposed to be holiday prep and
Yeah, I saw
They
that.
fall
I
clean
saw
up.
onions,
Yeah.
like
All
sleeping
day.
the onion next
Oh,
to the bed.
yeah.
Like,
got pushed into
why?
December.
Doesn't even make
Right,
sense.
that's because
But
it was such
When your
a...
smell comes back, it'll still be bad in there.
then you'll really know if you
know.
lost your sense of
I
smell.
I was doing some stuff this weekend.
Yeah, I was. Well,
big,
are
but
they
I guess
done with
I'm
the
not
leaf
up on that.
clip?
I thought it was garlic, but that's
So they
from
missed our
vampire.
street.
I don't know how
Oh, they
accurate it
missed
is.
it? Are you
It
sure?
hurts.
Well,
Yeah.
it
I read
ended
about
November
big wheat,
28th.
like,
So
black
if
on
your
the essential
pickup was
oil
after
tinctures.
November 28th,
They did the other side. No, they did it. They did everybody else around us this past Friday, except didn't do our street.
oh, really?
didn't chip last week.
There's a lot of piles of leaves out there, so.
Best for last.
Yes.
Get one last batch to the
Yeah.
street.
That'll teach you.
But they said it was supposed to go into the first week of December.
No, no. November 28th.
Yeah.
I remember at planning and zoning meeting, we asked.
I just discarded my leaf pickup postcard because I knew it was.
Oh,
That's the
see.
sign, yes.
Oh,
Good
cycled
one,
it,
good
right?
one.
Are you gonna throw the red flag, the challenge flag?
They did the other side of the street, our street. They didn't come down our street,
Yeah.
like our
Purposeful.
side.
Purposeful.
They're gonna sit out there all winter then.
All
Rush
right,
to the
it's
other
7
side.
o'clock.
Spread 'em out.
Everybody, Dan? Okay, everybody ready? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the December 5th meeting of the Village of Western Springs Board of Trustees. To honor our nation's heroes, and especially to honor the men and women in uniform who serve and protect our community, please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Clerk Timick, please call the roll.
Yes, President Geller. Trustee Chen.
Here.
Trustee Fink.
Here.
Trustee John.
Here.
Trustee Lewis.
Here.
Trustee Rudolph.
Here.
Trustee Terrell.
Here.
All present.
Thank you. Having read the agenda, does any trustee have an addition or deletion? Hearing none, we'll move on to the first of two public hearings tonight. This is the Truth in Taxation public hearing concerning the 2022 village property tax levy. Calling that meeting to order, Clerk Timick, will you please confirm that no one has left?
All present and accounted for.
Thank you. And then, can you acknowledge publication?
Yes, the notice was published in the Suburban Life, the edition of November 24th.
Thank you. At this time, I'll turn it over to Deputy Manager Casey Bernacki and Director John Mastandona for the presentation on the 2022 property tax levy.
Thank you, President Gallagher and Board of Trustees. I will quickly shuffle it over to John Mastandona, our Director of Finance, but before you tonight, we have a presentation of our proposed 2022 tax levy. I want to thank the Finance Department and John for preparing that tonight. They've put a lot of work into it, and he will give you all the fine details now.
Thank you. It is our pleasure tonight to present the 2022 property tax levy for the Village of Western Springs. The total 2022 levy request is $10,166,977. That is split between the Village of Western Springs request of $8,302,999 and the Thomas Ford Memorial Library levy request in the amount of $1,863,978. And the total property tax increase proposed for the village and the Thomas Ford Memorial Library is 5.03%. The village's portion of this increase is 5.46%, or $430,140. As a non-home rule community, the village must comply with the Property Tax Extension Limitation Law, also known as PTEL, which limits the increase in property tax extensions. The limitation law specifies that increases are to be the lesser of 5% or the increase in the National Consumer Price Index for the year preceding the levy year, plus an additional amount for new growth. There are levy exceptions to PTEL which are not subject to be capped, including the debt service of general obligation bonds and limited tax bonds and the special recreation levy. The Illinois Department of Revenue CPI was actually over 7% this year, so we are held to the lesser of the 5%. The estimated capture of new growth is 1.85%. Any overestimation of new growth will be reduced by the county, and we will be adopting an ordinance that will be directing the county to do so in order to reduce the levy. This tower illustrates the allocation of the property tax levy. 26% goes to general government to support operations, 23% to law enforcement, which includes the village's portion of the police pension contribution, 21% to long-term finance, which is debt service for our general obligation referendum bonds, 4% for pensions is IMRF, and the 4% recreation and CSPAR is actually a pass-through to the CSPAR organization. So anything we receive goes to them. Here is an example of a tax bill and what the increase would be for a residential in the school district 101. The total amount of the Village of Western Springs portion of the tax bill is $1,330, or 12.6%. The requested increase would be an increase of $72 to this tax bill. This is a sample tax bill of a house that was sold in September 2022 in the amount of $668,000, which was the median selling price for the year. Also illustrated is the other taxing agencies that are also on the tax bill in homes in Western Springs, and it's going in order from greatest to least. And here's the same for a household in School District 106. You can see the Western Springs portion of the bill is $1,307, or 12.5%, and the requested increase would be an increase of $71 to their annual property tax bill. This concludes our levy presentation. If the board is in concurrence, then a levy ordinance will be presented for approval at the December 19th meeting. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have tonight, and please reach out if there's any questions that may arise between now and the 19th.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Director Mastandona? No. Okay, then back to you, Casey.
Thank you, President Gallagher. You have to make a motion.
Oh, is it, I thought we were going to go through all these items. Okay. B, C, D, and E.
Yep.
Okay, so next up is the ordinance directing the Cook County Clerk's Office to reduce the 2022 property tax levy. Was this all part of your presentation? Do you have additional discussion on each of these items, John, or?
There is not unless there is warranted. They'll be introduced in the financial report, the ordinances
Okay.
that will be introduced.
Okay, thank you. Then in that case, there being no questions or comments by board members, I'll open it up to the public if anyone would like to address the board regarding this specific topic of truth in taxation. Is there anyone here this evening that would like to address the board? Okay, hearing none, are there any final questions by board members? In that case, Trustee Rudolph, would you motion? Thank you.
Yeah, I will make a motion to place the following items on the December 19th, 2022 Village Board meeting agenda for final action and approval for the omnibus. First one is an ordinance of the Board of Trustees of the Village of Western Springs, Cook County, Illinois, providing for the levy, assessment, and collection of taxes for the year 2022 property tax levy. The next item, ordinance directing the Cook County Clerk's Office to reduce the 2022 property tax levy in a certain manner according to the provisions of the tax cap, the separate calculation for village and library levy. The next would be an ordinance directing the Cook County Clerk's Office to reduce the 2022 property tax levy in a certain manner according to the provisions of the tax cap. And then finally, an ordinance directing the Cook County Clerk's Office to reduce the 2022 property tax levy in a certain manner tax levy abatement ordinance for outstanding bonds.
Thank you. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second.
Thank you. Clerk Timick, may we have the roll call vote, please?
Yes, President Gallagher. Trustee Chen.
Aye.
Trustee Fink.
Aye.
Trustee John.
Aye.
Trustee Terrell.
Aye.
Trustee Lewis.
Aye.
Trustee Rudolph.
Aye.
Motion's carried.
Thank you. There being no other business under this agenda item, may we have a motion to close this public hearing?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second?
May I have a roll call vote, please, Clerk Timick?
Yes, President Gallagher. Trustee Chen.
Aye.
Trustee Fink.
Aye.
Trustee John.
Aye.
Trustee Lewis.
Aye.
Trustee Rudolph.
Aye.
Trustee Terrell.
Aye.
The public hearing is closed.
Thank you. We now return to the agenda for tonight's regular meeting, workshop meeting. But first, we'll entertain public comment on items not pertaining to the two public hearings. So is there anyone here tonight who wishes to address the board on any matter? I see we have 3 young students here in the audience tonight. Is this part of a class? Yeah. What school? Fenwick? Yep. Well, welcome. You picked a great night to be here because we're talking all about finances and where your parents' hard-earned money goes to support our village and the services we provide. So thank you for attending. If you have any questions after the meeting, please feel free to come up and we'll be happy to talk to you individually. Okay. There being no one else here to address the board, we'll move on to the public hearing concerning the 2023 operating budget. So I call that meeting to order. Clerk Timick, will you please once again confirm no one has left? Thank you. And then the acknowledgement, please.
Yes, this public notice was also contained in the Suburban Life issue dated 11/24/11.
Thank you. I'll turn it over once again to Deputy Manager Bernacki and Finance Director Mastandona for the presentation on the 2023 annual budget.
Thank you, President Gallagher. As you see before you, we'll have a proposed 2023 budget for the board to review. As you know, we started the process a little earlier this year with our leadership team and with our new Director of Finance, John Mastandona, and we intend to start even earlier next year, sorry, John, on the process for the 2024 budget. But the updated process for 23 we were very happy with. We were happy with all the comments we received from you all at our committee meetings, and we thought it was a very positive experience. And I'd like to commend just our leadership team in general and John for all the hard work that they've put in over the last couple of months. So, John, after you.
Thank you. In front of us tonight is a proposed budget for the calendar year 2023. It's review and eventual approval at the December 19th, 2022 meeting. Although we like to think that the budget season starts late summer and fall, it's actually done throughout the whole year. Our directors take a lot of effort and pride in their budget line items and review them throughout the year, starting in January. All committees have reviewed their respective organizations, and the Finance Committee has reviewed the budget in its entirety. This is the revenue and expenditures of all funds. The village has 17 funds that each serve a specific purpose. There's 40, and this included in this budget is $41,770,248 of expenditures, supported by $34,048,724 of revenue. The theme throughout this whole presentation is capital, and I'll point out a few funds. The fourth one down, the Special Purpose Reserve Fund, there's expenditures of $1.4 million. This is used for grant matching, and we'll see it is going to be utilized for a water replacement program. A motor fuel tax for $1.3 million includes motor fuel tax monies received by the state and Rebuild Illinois that was received in the previous 3 years. And now we are finally expending all that money. Roadway construction for $2.8 million is the use of bond proceeds that were received in 2021 and approved in 2016. And the American Rescue Plan Act and $1.8 million, we received those funds over 2021 and 2022. This is the categorization of total revenue of $34 million. It's consistent with village demographics and heavily reliant on property taxes. As discussed in the levy presentation, the village is required to contribute to the police pension fund, which is about 19% of the total village levy. And property taxes provide almost 26% of the revenue. Sales tax, state, local government distribution fund, and license and permits have been strong in the past few years and are projected to continue to do so. The village continuously monitors line items that may be affected by a downturn in the economy, so adjustments can be made as soon as possible. Interest income is projected to be higher in 2023 than past years due to the increase in the Federal Reserve's target rate. The current target is 3.75 to 4% compared to 0 to 0.25 last year at this time. Salaries and benefits is 28%, and it also includes pension contributions. This is typical of a municipality our size. A significant portion of the 2023 expenditures of 26% is allocated to capital infrastructure projects that will be covered later in this presentation. The chart also breaks out non-discretionary expenditures in a total of $9.7 million. The village is obligated to repay all debt and provide police and fire benefit payments. The general fund, now we'll go to each fund level a little bit. General fund serves as the village's operations fund. For revenues, there's no new fees in the general fund being proposed and no increases in current fees. Property tax is a 6% increase. Expenditures is a 5% increase in health insurance when both pension, IMRF pension and the police pension contributions have decreased. 5.5% for the police pension, 1.6% for IMRF. This budget illustrates the effect of inflation costs on our operating budget. Staff continues to strive to keep costs down. Example is gasoline. The 2023 budget is 60% higher than last year. And through our fleet management, the village is including hybrid cars when possible. This is to assist with help keep with keeping fuel costs down, and also progressing the village's green initiative determined in our strategic plan. About 42% of the village's full-time employees are covered by a collective bargaining agreement, currently made up of 3 different units. The village is in negotiations with 2 of them now, and we'll be starting with the other one at the beginning of 2023. A wage increase is built into this budget, but pending the results of any agreement and the details that will entail. It's the general fund revenue, and I'd like to just point out the property taxes, income taxes, general sales and use taxes, and licenses and permits. Any decrease in these would have a significant effect on village operations. Legislation passed in 2021 allowed for the collection of sales tax on online sales, and it has had a positive impact on our sales tax line item, and we anticipate our sales tax revenue to maintain strong through the year. Here's a sample of a receipt and the village's portion of a money spent here. A very important part of our sales tax revenue is local businesses. The village highly values these businesses and what they offer our community. I encourage residents to support them and shop locally whenever possible. Here's a breakdown of the general fund expenditures. It's consistent with previously discussed. Majority allocation goes to salary and benefits. It's similar to other municipalities and other companies in the service industry. The general and capital improvement funds provide total costs of day-to-day operations and services to the village. This budget is committed to the same level of services that have always been provided, and there are no service cuts included in this budget. The breakout here is by department. Moving on to the capital improvement fund, this is a fund that the funds are used for capital improvement to finance capital projects. Taking a quick look, a few things I want to point out is the building improvements water tower. This is for improvements to the stairs in the water tower in a total amount of $111,000. Building improvements of $374,500 includes any improvements to any of the buildings that the village owns, this location and the Public Works garage, and also includes $170,000 of material storage down at the Public Works. And office equipment and furniture in the total amount of $219,540 includes $105,000 for IT requirements. This is including software and security upgrades. As it's ever changing, we're always trying to stay up with those. The roadway construction fund, here are the 2 projects outlined for 2023. Harvey from 41st to Hillgrove and Central Avenue. Total concrete reconstruction costs will total $1,999,739 for 2023. This will completely exhaust the remaining funds from our bonds issued in 2021 that were approved by referendum in the 2016 election. There's still remaining about $170,000 in that fund. It won't be enough to do a project, so we'll have to look in the future years of how we want to utilize the leftover funds. The 2023 MFT program, which is the resurfacing, is Lawn Avenue and Grant Avenue from 47th Street to 49th Street. This is using motor fuel tax funds received and also the remaining balance of the Rebuild Illinois funds. The West Underpass project is nearing completion. This picture was today, so we get the construction cones and all. A significant portion of the grant funding is expected in 2023, just due to timing. And our water system projects. The village, throughout this budget, is investing a significant amount in our aging infrastructure. A few things I want to point out is the Spring Rock Park water main lining, in the total amount of $700,000. Water meter replacement program in the amount of $2.8 million. That is going to be funded by the American Rescue Plan Act that the village received in the total amount of 1.8 and a matching from the Special Purpose Reserve Fund. Continuation of our overhead sewer reimbursement program for residents who qualify. We have budgeted up to $50,000 next year. Springdale Inlet improvements in the amount of $150,000. And annual roadway sewer lining and repair to go along with our annual roadway program in the amount of $200,000. And this shows current funding levels of the police and fire pension funds. In 2021, January of 2021, the police pension was funded at a 66.1% to fire 74.55%. State legislation passed to consolidate suburban and downstate pension funds into two funds, one being fire, one police. Our assets were transferred into the police fund in June of 2022, and we believe any benefits that would be reflected will be in future years of cost savings. And that concludes our presentation of the 2023 budget. If there are any questions.
Any questions regarding the budget? I would like to echo Deputy Manager Bernanke's comments. Really appreciate the thorough dive that we did into the budget process this year and the early start. I feel like we, and through our committees, were much more engaged is not the right word, but we had the time to really look at the individual budgets and get back to the appropriate directors and participated at a greater level than we have in the past, and appreciate the efforts of staff, all the senior staff, to put that together and make sure that the board, as part of its duty to provide oversight and guidance of the budget, had an opportunity to do so. So thank you. Then are we going to talk about the amendments to the fiscal year 2022 annual budget, which is item number 2 on this?
There will be some in the finance report. There's 2 budget amendments tonight being considered for the next meeting on the 19th.
Okay, so we'll delay that till the finance report then. And then we have the ordinance regarding the 2023 budget. And then the budget adoption process and schedule.
So on the 19th, we'll formally approve the ordinance, and then it will be filed with the county.
Thank you. Next, we'll move on to the presentation by the Thomas Ford Memorial Library. We're lucky to have Director Ted Bodavis here tonight, so welcome, Ted.
Thank you very much. Do I need to use this?
Please, because that's how the people at home can hear you.
My name is Ted Bodavis. I'm the director of the Thomas Ford Memorial Library. Also present tonight is Carol Foster, the board treasurer for the library. I'm here this evening to present the library's levy request and budget summary. You should have a packet in front of you that was distributed before the meeting. The Library Board of Trustees is proposing our levy requests and budget summary for fiscal year 2023 as summarized on your handouts. For fiscal year 2023, the proposed library operating levy is $1,411,240. Expenditures from this fund include salaries, benefits, insurance, supplies, media expenditures, and a contingency. The proposed library building and maintenance levy this year is $148,578, which represents 0.02 of anticipated EAV as stipulated by law. Expenditures from this fund include contractual services, building supplies, furniture and equipment, and a contingency. The proposed IMRF levy amount for fiscal year 2023 is $53,000, and the proposed bond levy is $251,160 for repayment of our general obligation bonds approved by voters in 2018. The total of the Thomas Ford Memorial Library levy is $1,863,978, which represents a 3.15 increase over last year's final levy amounts. Also included in your packet is a summary budget for the new year. I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
Any questions of Mr. Bodatis?
Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you. I'll now open it up to the public. If anyone has any comments regarding the 2023 comprehensive budget. Hearing none. Any last questions you thought of, board members? Okay, then Trustee Rudolph, may I have the motion?
Yes, President Gallagher, I will make a motion to place the following items on the December 19th, 2022 Village Board meeting agenda for final action and approval on our omnibus. That would be the ordinance approving the Village of Western Springs fiscal year 2023 operating annual budget for fiscal year 2023, beginning January 1st, 2023 and ending December 31st, 2023. Then the second, ordinance approving amendments to the fiscal year 2022, January 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2022, Village of Western Springs annual budget.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. May we have the roll call vote, please?
Yes, President Gallagher. Trustee Chen?
Aye.
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Trustee Carroll?
Aye.
Trustee Lewis?
Aye.
Trustee Rudolph?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. So we will place the items for action tonight on the omnibus on December 19th from both the levy hearing and this budget hearing. May I now have a motion to close this public hearing?
Motion to close the public hearing?
Second?
Second?
Thank you. May I have the roll call vote, please?
Yes, President Gallagher. Trustee Chen?
Aye.
Trustee Fink?
Aye.
Trustee John?
Aye.
Trustee Lewis?
Aye.
Trustee Rudolph?
Aye.
Trustee Tiro?
Aye.
Public hearing is closed.
Thank you. We'll now return to the agenda for the workshop portion of our meeting. This is where the committees report on the items up for discussion this month within their committees. First up is Properties and Recreation Committee Chair, Trustee Chen.
Yes, hi, thank you, Madam President. Just a quick update, the Properties and Recreation Committee will actually be meeting tomorrow, December 6th at 5 to hear final comments from the petitioners at 5140 Grand Avenue and 5200 Grand Avenue for the sale of approximately 27 feet of right-of-way. As far as next steps after tomorrow's meeting and hearing, we will present a final recommendation to the village board for the December 19th for consideration and deliberation, and a motion to instruct the village attorney to order a title report and plat of right-of-way vacation. Village staff will then schedule a public hearing to occur no less than 30 days after the December 19th meeting for final public comment on any potential right-of-way sale. So that's just my announcement about that. And that's it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Moving on to the Public Works and Water Committee Chair, Trustee Fink.
All right, thank you. So the first item is the water treatment plant generator. So the Public Works Committee is recommending a change order for $13,927.54 to ABS Electrical. The water treatment plant generator had the long lead time, and with that they kind of broke the program. It broke it up into two parts. First was laying the cement pad, and the other part is the actual installation. And the change orders for difficulties like getting the piping in so the electrical can get to the generator. The second item is the Harvey Avenue reconstruction bid results. So Public Works is recommending awarding the contract to the lowest bidder, R.W. Duntman, for $1,430,448.65. So this is the same program or the same streets that we recommended not to do last year. And I'm happy to say that this bid is 5% lower than last year, so I'm glad we waited.
Yeah, me too.
So the last item is the water meter replacement program recommendations. So this was discussed and recommended by the Infrastructure Committee and the Public Works Committee. So we're recommending awarding the contract to Water Resource Systems. So the total cost of this will be $2,669,000, and of this, $1,817,954 will come from the ARPA funds that the Director Mastodona spoke of earlier, and the remaining funds that will come from the special purpose funds. And so the biggest thing was recommending the contract to the Water Resource Systems. And that's all I have.
Okay, great, thank you. So we'll put those items on the omnibus for action at our next meeting, right?
Right, thank you.
Okay. Moving on to the Planning and Zoning Committee report, Trustee John?
Yep. So I just have one thing to discuss. So the village received an application for development incentives from KLM Development Group for the development at 514 Hillgrove. I think we've talked about it several times. They broke ground just recently. Certain eligible redevelopment costs can be reimbursed by the village to the developer who has requested TIF district funds as a development incentive relative to a project within the established, and this was the North Side TIF district. Such incentive requests are governed by the Tax Increment Allocation Redevelopment Act. Staff and village attorney are currently reviewing the application to determine the eligibility for reimbursement. And the village manager sent the request to Cook County Tax Extension Department requesting new tax code designation for this parcel. This will segregate the tax increment generated by the development into a separate account for tracking and reimbursement purposes. And additional financial analysis will be prepared. And the TIF district incentive application will be sent to the Economic Development Commission for input and recommendation back to the village board at our next meeting on December 19th or January 9th. So it's just, as we all know with the TIFs, they're basically asking for reimbursement and for incentives for building this 12-unit condo. And this will, go to the Economic Development Commission for their feedback on the incentives and then come back to us for review. Any questions? All right.
Thank you. Moving on to the Finance Committee report, Trustee Rudolph?
Thank you, President Gallagher. So as previously discussed, I had read 5 ordinances that will then be placed on the omnibus, as we've mentioned now a couple of times. So those we're recommending for that. Any other questions or anything procedurally that I need to do on those?
No, I think there's 6 altogether.
oh,
but,
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Well, the last are the budget amendments that I'm about to bring up.
Okay,
So those are the
great. So the 5 prior.
5 from
Okay.
the hearings, yes. Okay. The 6th item is then we also have a budget amendment, 2 requests. One has to do, again, with fuel, which we did, it was mentioned by Director Mastandona earlier, but we earlier, if you recall, even a couple months ago, we had approved an amendment for additional fuel costs. As we all know, fuel has gotten quite a bit more expensive this year, and we have another request for $30,000 more in additional fuel costs. The second item then is a budget amendment request for just vehicle maintenance for the fire truck, for the aerial, which is the ladder, in the amount of $20,000 of unanticipated maintenance costs. So those be also on the list. Questions on those? Other than that, that will then conclude my report.
Okay, thank you. And we'll have those 6 ordinances on the omnibus. Thank you very much. Not to miss public health and safety, I skipped over you a little bit. Trustee Lewis.
Thank you, President Gallagher. The holiday season is in full swing, and once again, our police and fire departments are offering some general safety and crime prevention tips to help us all enjoy a safe and hopefully crime-free holiday season. The Western Springs Department of Fire and Emergency Services is once again participating in the Keep the Wreath Red program in partnership with the Illinois Fire Chiefs Association. The program is designed to increase fire awareness during the holiday season and centers around the display of a Christmas wreath draped in red light bulbs hung outside both fire stations in the village. In the event of a holiday-related fire, firefighters will replace a red bulb with a white one. So the idea is to keep the wreath red. They also,
nice.
in their announcement, included some safety reminders, and I'll just pull out a couple of those. Make sure the electrical cords are not overloaded and that cords used outdoors are designed for that use. Inside, do not place electrical cords under carpets or rugs, and all electrical cords should be UL approved. And also, live Christmas trees need frequent watering to keep them from drying out prematurely. So be aware of your tree's condition, and when it becomes brittle and dry, discontinue use of decorative lighting. And when you leave home, don't leave the lights on.
Good advice.
The fire department, the police department has also offered up some holiday messaging, and they're noting that the village and our neighboring communities continue to combat vehicle thefts and burglaries, and in nearly all the reported incidents, vehicles have been left unlocked and stolen vehicles frequently have the keys inside. So they are offering a reminder about that and asking us to not leave any valuables in plain sight. This includes laptops, cell phones, holiday gifts, purses, etc. They're also reminding us when you're approaching your vehicle to be vigilant and aware of your surroundings. And again, please don't leave your key fobs in the vehicle, the garage, or just inside your house, near the garage. Reminding us about package thefts this time of year. Please ensure that all important or expensive packages are sent with signature required, tracking, or certified mail. And please bring the packages in as soon as you can after delivery. And although the seem less identity theft these days, it continues to be the most commonly occurring crime in the village. So another reminder to never click on links in unsolicited emails or texts. They're often phishing scams, can either be malware on your devices or solicit personal information for the purpose of ID theft. So they've offered up quite a few tips, and they've put it out on their social media sites, and they're encouraging us to follow these as best we can.
That's great. All very timely reminders.
All right. Moving on. On October 21st, the village issued a request for proposal for a contract related to paramedic firefighters personnel services agreement. The responses were due November 21st, and we received responses from 3 vendors. Of the 3, Paramedic Services of Illinois was the lowest qualified vendor, and they're also our current provider for this service. So staff is now working with their representatives to work out the final details of those contracts for 2023 and 2024. We talked about this at our Public Health and Safety Committee meeting, and we anticipate bringing the official bid results and the proposed agreement to the full village board at the December 19th meeting.
Okay.
That is all I have.
Well, thank you very much. All right, moving on to the General Government Committee report. Trustee Terrell?
I have no report this evening.
All right, thank you. For my report, I have nothing to report this evening as well, so I'll turn it over to Deputy Manager Bernanke.
Thank you, President Gallagher. No report for me either.
Thank you. Attorney Jerusik?
3 times the charm. No report.
Very good. Is there any other business a trustee wishes to discuss this evening? Hearing none, we'll move we'll make a motion to recess to close meeting. So Trustee Terrell, may I have that motion, please?
Yes, I would make a a motion to recess to closed meeting for the purpose of discussion of collective negotiating matters between the village and its employees or their representatives, or deliberations concerning salary schedules for one or more classes of employees pursuant to Illinois compiled statute 120/2(c)(2).
Is there a second?
Second.
May I have the roll call vote, please?
Yes, President Gallagher. Trustee Chen?
Aye.
Trustee Fink?
Aye.
Trustee John?
Aye.
Trustee Lewis?
Aye.
Trustee Rudolph?
Aye.
Trustee Hero?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now in closed session. Thank you for your attendance this evening. When we come back to open session, we will only open the meeting in order to close it. No action will be taken during that open session. So good evening, and thank you for attending.